Well, the stock market is certainly a very fascinating case study on human psychology and behavioral analytics, and Tesla is no exception to that rule. Welcome back to another video, guys. A lot has happened since the last time we spoke on Tesla stock. We are up about 25% in the past week. And as I'm recording this video right now, Tesla is a $434 stock in the Robinhood overnight markets. And last we spoke, we talked about breaking this 356 level and going straight to our next Fibonacci target of $409. And pretty much ever since we punched above this level, we have essentially never looked back. And so what I want to do in this video is I want to focus on some of these higher time frame charts and just look solely at price action and any data we can gather from just simply looking at our higher time frame charts to put together a more clear puzzle on or a more clear picture on, is Tesla actually going to keep pumping from here? So I want to start off by actually going to the 5-day chart to kind of just tell you guys straight up what's happening with Tesla stock from here. And isn't that funny? This candle closes in exactly 4 days and 20 hours. So if we zoom into our price action here, right around our Fibonacci level of $409, you can see that we got a very clean, barely, but we got a clean close above this Fibonacci level. We closed at approximately $410, right? So we essentially have a breakthrough candle that has confirmed and closed this past Tuesday on Tesla stock. And that is very, very significant. Actually, I believe it was Monday that we closed above $410. Let me actually confirm that real quick. Yeah, it was Monday. And if we look at our 5-day chart, we can see that Tesla has not gone below this Fibonacci level. And what we have been comparing this cycle of Tesla's price action to has really been October, November of 2019, right? We have the same Fibonacci equivalent levels laid out here. And what we can see is this very similar pattern where Tesla back in July of 2019 till about October 2019, about 92 trading days, we consolidated under the $17 level, which today's equivalent of that is about $356. And then once we blasted to this Fibonacci level and we got a candle close above this Fibonacci level of $21, we never went under it ever. And what we actually went on instead was we closed on Halloween of 2019. And what happened is over the next 4 months, Tesla stock did not look back. Tesla never reversed its course. And we went absolutely crazy from there in the following 4 months after that. So what we are likely setting up for today is something very similar on Tesla stock today. We are currently holding 409 as clean support. We've broken above $356 after a massive 104-day consolidation. So a little bit longer than 92 trading days. But we consolidated for around 100 days and we finally got a clean close above $409. And we're currently holding this level as support. Additionally, if we look at our Traders Dynamic Index, we are clearly in the parabolic zone, right? We clearly got here once we closed at $410. And if we look back here, by the time we got in this parabolic zone, we basically closed above this Fibonacci level. You can see right now our red line on our parabolic or on our Traders Dynamic Index is currently at 73, and we closed at 70.9 on this breakthrough candle. If we look at our last breakthrough candle from Halloween of 2019, our red line was sitting at a level of about 72. And when you typically have these massive pumps after massive almost 100-day long consolidations, you don't stop pumping. This is not a one and done type of move typically. What we notice is that Tesla has a history of doing this. It has a history of trading like this over pretty much its entire history. I was going to say the past couple of years, but it's more like its entire history. If we look at what Tesla stock has essentially did very recently, as early as the first half of 2024, you can see we pretty much first we had this pump of about, I mean, if we measure this out from our opening candle print, you had about a 30% pump, which is very fast for a just 10 days of trading. And what happened is you consolidated for approximately 52 days, and then you had this massive pump. And then after this massive pump, you consolidated for about 114, 121 days before you made that next leg higher. So Tesla stock has a very interesting history of consolidating. And then once the massive moves happen, they pretty much happen all at once. And essentially, that's what we have. We have not only a massive consolidation that is upon us, but we pretty much have this really massive move that is essentially happening all at once right now, right? And it's not holding back as we speak. So, given what we have here, I want to answer the question of when do I expect us to break all time highs? And what are our next price targets above all time highs? And we've talked about these price targets in previous videos, but we're going to mention it right here. So we're going to take our bar pattern from this close of Halloween 2019, and we're going to project out a little over a year. So call it 15 months. Right? Because we want to put together a grand picture for what the next 12 to 15 months could look like for Tesla stock based on this signal. And what we have is this following bar pattern right here, where we have potentially Tesla stock breaking all time highs going into the earnings, which would be October 21st to October 28th. That would be a rough timeline of when Tesla could break all time highs. As far as price targets, well, we have a bunch of them based on our Fibonacci levels. We have our next price target of about $611 on our Fibonacci price level, and we have $1,100 in our most ballistic bullish case, right? And for multiple years, I've been talking about how Tesla could get above $1,100 maybe in 2027. But if we have a massive pump ahead of us, we could hit $1,100 as soon as end of this year. Now, I don't want you guys taking any full port options trades based on that statistic, okay? And based on this projection, because you never know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going to happen with Tesla stock. But what we can do is we can look at history as a guide and tell us, okay, what is the most likely scenario 12, 15 months from now? And if we were to repeat what we did in 2019, we would have Tesla stock essentially at $4,000 by the end of next year. Now, that is a very hyper bullish scenario there. And a lot of things would obviously have to go right for Tesla to go to $4,000. But I don't personally think we'll see $4,000 until maybe 2028, or at the very earliest, in my honest opinion, 2027. I think end of 2026, $4,000 would be way too early unless Robotaxi ends up killing Uber and Waymo pretty much in the next 12 months, which it could happen, but it's not something I would entirely bet on. But nonetheless, I am betting on Tesla being very successful, as I did just add to my Tesla position very recently. So I already have a massive bet going on in there. And if Tesla does very well in these next 3 to 5 years, then that bet is going to pay off quite literally. So let's zoom out and let's look at our 12-day chart next, because we have some very interesting things happening here. You can see very recently on our Traders Dynamic Index, we have pretty much been consolidating along this orange line. And now we've seen this green line cross above this orange, right? So we have this consolidation, and now we're currently making a break upwards. And we're trying to go to this upper blue line, which is what I call the parabolic zone, because anytime you get above here, you see Tesla make the largest moves of its entire cycle, right? So we have this consolidation and then pump. The last time that this signal repeated, believe it or not, consolidation and pump, was all the way back in February of 2013. Because check this out. We had an all-time high back then of about $2.66. I know that sounds like an absolute joke right now, looking back 12 years from now. And we could be talking about Tesla at $435 today and being like, "Oh my god, like that was a joke compared to where it ends up another 12 years from today by 2037." And what we had essentially here was underneath our all time highs, we consolidated for about an entire year before we made this next leg higher, where once Tesla got in this parabolic zone on the 12-day chart, first off, it started with a massive 20% pump to new all time highs. And then from there, you pretty much went straight ballistic. We can see here that Tesla made approximately a 535% move from April of 2013 all the way till about September of 2014, which means that approximately for the next 17 months, you just went straight up and you never looked back. Even in this time period where Tesla did nothing for 10 years straight almost, because they were obviously, working on Model 3 production and scaling up their production lines across Fremont, and that was their only factory at the time. We had this period of time where Tesla did nothing for a very long period of time until obviously we had the Shanghai factory open, Berlin, and then of course the rest was history. So we could be in one of these types of impulse moves where we could have this very lightning fast pump. And if we were to actually calculate this based on where our trader's dynamic index is, let's see what that pump would look like. So right now we're at 67 on our red line, and we're just making the first impulse move up. So if we count that as essentially, that's a very interesting one. Let's see if there was a blue line back then that we can maybe look at and be like, okay, and once Tesla closed above here, there it is. Right here. This January 18th of 2013 candle. I turned 11 years old around that time. That was when Tesla cleared that blue Fibonacci line. Now, if we were to project this forward from this candle, we get something like this. And this would be a very aggressive move if it were to happen. But this would essentially imply that Tesla by March of 2027 could be around $3,000. And what this also implies is that Tesla would essentially consolidate under all time highs until about November 12th. And that's right after your earnings and, more importantly, your shareholder meeting. So everything so far on these higher time frame charts is pointing to a massive all-time high breakout happening at the very earliest, or at the very latest, I should say, given how fast Tesla's moving lately, of between October 21st to about middle of November, based on what we've done in past cycles, and when we've seen these prior signals pull up. And again, not something I would take risky long-term options trades on, right? What you do with that is what you do with that information is all on you. And I'm not personally responsible for any degenerate habits that may come out of you during this, what could be one of the biggest pumps in Tesla that we've seen in years. Additionally, some other things that I want to talk about here is kind of zooming in again on our 10-day and 12-day candles, is which again, very funny how they both close in 4 days and 20 hours, is right now on our 10-day chart, we're getting really close to this highest closing price here of about $431. As a matter of fact, as we speak right now, Tesla is at 433, pretty much $434 now. We can round it up. So it's basically about right here. So it's looking like this next 10-day and 12-day candle as well could be the highest closing price in Tesla's entire history, which even beats the 2021 closing price of $402 on this time frame. Not the all-time high of 414, but just the closing price. And on the 10-day, or sorry, on the 12-day candles, it's not even a comparison because your previous highest price ever was $366. And then after that, it was about $424. We're about $10 above this all-time high closing price in a Tesla stock. And that's pretty insane. So this together can also potentially tell us that we may have already started this pump. We may have already started this generational pump. And we will know when this thing is breaking all-time highs and going for $500 and maybe $600. From then and only then, we will be able to essentially come back to the charts and judge for ourselves. Is this the big pump that's going to send Tesla to 600, 900, $1,100 in the coming months? But so far, we're looking really bullish on Tesla stock. And one more time frame I want to end things off with is on the monthly chart, which this candle closes in about 12 days and 20 hours. If we look at our Traders Dynamic Index, we're doing something for the first time that I have never seen in Tesla's entire history. We are not only holding this orange line of support, we're trying to break back above this parabolic zone for the first time since essentially November of 2024. And this is a massive signal because we've never done this in Tesla stock's entire history. If we look at pretty much the last essentially 13 years where we've had a clean Traders Dynamic Index, you can see in these boxes that I'm about to draw that Tesla has these massive pumps and then just these massive dumps, like very like unhealthy, price action, and then it will make this next leg higher and then just massively dump, right? And you can even see during June of 2018 and November of 2018, we were actually holding this orange line as resistance, and this is what led to your 2019 sell-off, right? And then you got that dump, and then you once again got this massive generational pump, and then generational dump once again. So you guys are probably getting an idea of what the pattern looks like here on Tesla. But we're breaking that pattern because what we've seen in this cycle is actually Tesla become a more mature stock. And Tesla stock today is actually now trading like it's first off like it's bullish, but like it's more matured in terms of price action. And here's what I mean by that. Because not only have we essentially flipped this orange line into support, which has pretty much never happened when you're making these massive moves to the upside. This has never happened before in Tesla's entire history where we've held this orange line as support. You can say we did it here in May 2021, and maybe you can make the case for November 2017, but you didn't go near all-time highs during these points in time. And obviously, May 2021, you went to new all-time highs, but this was like your final rally. And this was also at a very overbought level of about 83. We're not at 83, we're at 65, which means that the barrier, essentially like the bar for Tesla to go parabolic from here, has been lowered massively. And we have a very bullish Tesla stock here that I did not even expect, first off, to even see any bullish activity on Tesla in 2025. I thought we were going to repeat if you guys saw my 2018, or if you saw my worst case scenario video for Tesla stock, I was expecting us to repeat something like January 2018, where we just pull back and we did nothing for multiple years and then we go for this massive pump. We pulled back, sure, but we're getting pretty close to breaking all-time highs. And I'm running short on time on this video, but I just wanted to put that out there because Tesla, very bullish stock, and it's very mature in sort of its bull cycle because it's actually making this sort of trend of higher lows. And that doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So, in conclusion, I am very bullish on Tesla for the next few weeks, but also the next multiple months until proven otherwise. this is a really bullish stock. I like the stock.